Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It is Conor. We're back here with another video. Now, listen, I'm going to break this to you really slowly, okay? I have to wear glasses, right? From now on, okay? Now, I'm doing this every single day, okay? So me and you are going to have to develop a little bit of a relationship here where you are going to have to accept these, all right? I've had to accept these. My girlfriend quite likes them. I'm not a big fan of them. Okay. Right. Okay. Now we've all had a laugh at my expense. This is what I'm gonna have to do from now on. So if you see me in these, the jokes I'm sure will be in the comment section below. There'll be threads, all this sort of stuff, but you're gonna have to get used to it. Okay. So there you go. Just thought I'd establish that. We're going to be talking about Cameron Archer. We're going to be speaking about Matt Target. I hope you checked out the stream from earlier on, everybody. Make sure you do so. It's already on 7K likes, 7K likes, imagine. 7K views. Make sure you check that out. We've got the second channel. Make sure as well you subscribe to the Patreon. This video, as always, is sponsored by IPM Group. All of your security and CCTV needs. Keep it within the Leeds United family with Rick and the gang, all CCTV holders at Ellen Road. Without any further ado, Mr. Brown, how we doing, mate? Hold on. Can you hear me?
I was actually saying that I was digging the glasses and then you muted me.
Right.
He was expecting a bit of a dig, but
here we go.
Ready on the mute button already.
Right, there we go. We've got Draco Malfoy. What else have we got? I accept you, Conor. There we go.
I went with Mateus Click vibes.
I'll take it. I'll take this. I've got to wear them. My eyes are struggling. I'm blurring with you right now, so I'm gonna have to wear them. So I apologize.
My eyes were struggling on Monday night. I'll tell you
that. Go on then, mate. Go on then. Okay. Let's speak about it, shall we? Monday, we'll start off with get into all the transfer chat. You were at Burnley. Me and you had a phone call about it afterwards. I've got nothing else to say on it, mate. I've got no other things to touch on. How was it for you?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I don't know. I don't want the video to get taken down, but it was absolute ball, wasn't it?
That's all right. Yeah. No, I thought you said terrible. I was like, okay, we could be on the verge of it. We'll see how YouTube deal with that. But yeah, I've accepted it.
Yeah, it was. It reminded me of the World Cup game back in like early 90s or late 80s. I can't remember one where both teams had qualified if they got a point. And it was like one team would pass it along the back for 20 minutes and then they give it the other team to pass it along the back for 20 minutes. Both shook hands, took a point, and off they went. I didn't know how to feel after it. I didn't know how to feel. On the way there, and I said to yourself, point away at one of your rivals is a good point. Then when you leave, you felt almost like, God, you know what? They were there for the taking. They were so there for the taking. And it just felt like if we'd have proper had a go, we'd have probably took all three. But it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? If you open yourself up and get done 1-0, then people will be hammering away saying we should have just shut up shop and took a point. So it's a fine balance. At this stage of the season, nothing we're going to be settled. The Sheffield United result and the Sunderland result previously before we played allowed us to be okay with a point. And that's exactly what we got. I think we could have saved everybody's time if we'd have just said, right, both teams want a point, shake hands and don't even bother playing, because that's what it kind of felt like. But you can't be too unhappy with taking a point when that's what you were wanting before the game. Not wanting, but would have been happy with. We'd have all settled for a point before that weekend started. Obviously, how the results transpired, we had the chance to cut up and 6 points, but I just felt we were so sloppy and wasteful all over the pitch. Right at the start, I think Ampadu gave the ball away 3 times in the first 5 minutes, and it just felt very lax. And then I felt we got into some really good positions, and I'm sure we'll get onto certain personnel in the attacking third, but just so wasteful, so sloppy. When there were chances there to cut teams open. Like I say, I am a big Farke advocate, and I do buy into everything he's done, and I think he's done a really good job. But you can like everything he's done and also question things. I think that's allowed. I think you can call out certain people just because Farke's picking him doesn't mean you can't question it. I think what Farke's doing as a whole package is absolutely spot on with everything he's had to deal with since he came in. But there's just one or two, and I think he's alluded to it today in his presser. It's interesting that he's mentioned a 10 again. I mean, do you know what I mean? You are allowed to question certain positions on the pitch and still like Daniel Farke. I think that's really important to get across because I think it's coming across, especially on socials, that you either like everything he does or you can't question him. You can be in the middle a little bit. I mean, for a guy to have over 200 appearances in the Championship and his points per game be up at 1.9, I mean, that's unbelievable, to be honest, especially with the first season at Norwich. I don't think they were anywhere near, were they, in that first season at Norwich? So that's a good 46 games of that 200 in a team that's nowhere near promotion. So, yeah, for me, it's glaringly obvious where we're lacking, and he's addressed that in the presser today by saying about a number 10. I think he's come out and said that again, hasn't he?
Yeah, he sort of danced around it, hasn't he? Yeah.
For me, in the team that's got the most goals in the division, top of the league, your number 10 has to have more than 2 assists. Just has to. I don't see an argument for that not being the case.
I'm happy you've said it, because when I say it, look, mate, some people like me, they don't like me. And you'll have the same thing, mate. You know, unfortunately, people take football opinions very personally, and I've learned this in this game. Me and you have done this now for 3 or 4 years, and I think we can kind of understand that. But I think sometimes other people need to say similar things, and sometimes me and you come from different vantage points as well. And it's quite nice to hear you say that, because I completely agree with you. And yeah, look, you can like Daniel Farke, but I think the problem is, and I've coined the phrase quite a bit on here, mate, there's a fair few Farke-sexuals in our fan base who will say no wrong with anything he does. And I think that it's quite narrative ridden, to be honest. It's quite, you know, you're putting your colours to the mast a little bit, and you're not being objective. Yeah. And I think you've got to be objective in football. And Farke's done a good job. I try to be balanced with it. He's done a good job. I'll be content when he gets Leeds United up, because it's a very good side, and I think we will go up. But at the same point, criticisms are there. And I think right now, he's doing a good job, as I've just mentioned. But, you know, we can criticise the fact that he constantly plays Aaronson. We can criticise the fact that some people might not like that he went to Burnley for a draw and set up quite negatively. Some people will be upset at the fact he consistently plays Peru. Some people will be upset at the fact that Ramazani isn't getting enough minutes and Nonto's been kind of frozen out a little bit right now. There's conversations to be had there, mate, I think.
Absolutely. I remember after the Burnley game at home, coming on and standing in his corner, the amount of chances in games we're creating. I remember saying at the time, over 46 games playing that way, you will pick up more points than you don't. And lo and behold, we're top of the league, 2 points clear. We've scored the most goals in the league, and I think there's only Burnley that have conceded less. If you look at all the stats, we're top of everything. Apart from the goals conceded, where Burnley have only conceded 9, but I mean, there's a good amount of games where they haven't even scored a goal in. For me, for number 10, I think he plays backwards and sideways more than he penetrates balls through the middle, to be honest, Aaronson, for me. Yeah. He seems to slow a lot down, seems to get caught in possession a lot. Is it instructions for him to play wide a lot? I don't know. But he does. I'd like people in the comments who are Aaronson fans to give me examples of him sliding balls between the centre halves for players to run onto. I'm at a loss to how many times he does that. Do you know the threaded through balls?
Can I ask you a direct question? As a striker, if you've got a number 10, because assists and chances created are obviously a little bit different. But if you had a number 10 when you were playing at the level that you played at, and he wasn't effective at his role, maybe like we've just spoke about, you know, he held onto the ball a little bit too long, wasn't that much of a visionary, I think Aaronson elects to go out wide a little bit more than he does just penetrate through that vertical sense, you know, in between the centre-backs and the full-back. would that have affected you as a striker?
In terms of making runs, possibly.
Yeah.
Do you stop making the runs because you know the ball's not going to come? I think that's what you're trying to say. Possibly. I don't really. On the flip side, I don't really think Perot's a type of player that wants to run in behind. And Mateo Joseph.
I don't think Perot is.
Joseph definitely is. But I do think he's one that has missed an awful lot of chances.
Yep.
But is Aaronson a 10? Is that if he was to pick where he played, would he pick that position? That's, I don't know. For me, all I keep hearing is he's good in the press. He runs around a lot. I can get people from the gym to run around. Like, do you know what I mean? I've been wondering whether to say this or not. He's getting to Tyler Roberts territory for me. Honestly, I've tried and I've tried and I've tried.
For you, if you're an OG on this channel, you remember the man onto my right when it was Tyler Roberts territory.
I've tried and I've tried and I've tried and I've tried to get on board with him. It's nothing to do with the fact that he left and came. I don't care. I don't care. It's a job.
What about the goals? What about the goals? He scored 7 goals.
He has contributed 7 goals.
Roberts never did that.
Name me one from outside the box where you think he's pulled one out of his ass.
Like sort of a match win. I think against Derby won the match, didn't he? To be fair to him.
He did win the match, but he should score that goal.
Yeah.
Listen, I just want more creativity from my number 10.
Yeah.
And being in away grounds, honestly, he gets a lot of the brunt. I don't want to hear, expected this and expected that. What has he put on a plate for people? Because I keep hearing, he's the biggest chance. No, he's not. What chances can people now tell me that players have missed off an Aaronson pass?
Yeah,
I can think of loads of missed chances that we've had, and none of them have come from Aaronson.
No, they haven't. No.
So I don't know where this narrative is coming from. He's the biggest chance creator.
I think Tom's bang on in the chat. He just said he's more of an 8. I agree. He's an 8. He's definitely an 8.
He gets the ball and he does drive and he does progress with it really well. But it's the Tyler Roberts shout. It's a bit of tongue in cheek because we had that bit of laugh about Tyler Roberts.
I know what you mean, though. I know you get.
He progresses really well with the ball, and it's like, go on then. I feel like I'm doing that a lot with him.
Yeah. Well, we watched the game against Burnley, and it was evident. So I watched I was at the Wednesday game, Matt, and I know you were as well. But I was at the Wednesday game, and we didn't do a lot against Wednesday, did we? Let's be honest. Wednesday it was a little bit ebb and flow. The reason, I don't know if you agree with this, but I was in the East Stand. We had, I'd say, 4 or 5 opportunities to break, and his positional awareness, I think, is very good. So he picked the ball up in that central space. Wednesday had committed a lot of players forward, which you'd expect under a Danny Roll system. In that central space, mate, we broke a hell of a lot of times. But when he's holding on to the ball for 4, 5, 6, you get Shea Charles recovering. You get Barry Bannon back in there because if you take those extra touches in the midfield, of which he did, we had those counter-attacking opportunities with him. But he'd falter too much on the ball. He'd hold on to it for too long. So they were stifled. They'd get back into position, the shape. We weren't able to penetrate.
That's what I mean with and he picks up the ball in so many good areas. But it's like, it just gets that last bit. And it's like, I'm willing him to pick out a better pass constantly because he does pick up the ball so well. And it's it just feels like, it's always a nearly. It's always a nearly.
So with Aaronson then, I think it's abundantly clear. Obviously, I think the fan base is pretty split on him. I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm happy with him. Like, believe it or not, we can be balanced over here on it. I can say that, look, I'm really impressed with him. He's come back. He's actually overachieved in terms of what I expected from him. So, I've been put back on that slant. However, there's no way, in my opinion, that he should be starting week in, week out for Leeds. And then what's the long-term projection? What are we doing with him long-term? Because he ain't working in the Premier League. Facts in that number 10. No way. So are you? So me and you have spoken about this before. We think we've had Emi Buendia in the Championship, who's acclimatized to a different position in the Premier League when it comes to right wing to central attacking midfield. We've had Pablo Hernandez, who started out wide, who went central attacking midfielder. We've had Jorginho Rutter, who started out wide, who went into a central attacking midfielder. And now we've had Brendan Aaronson kind of do the same. He's off the left into the central position. Do you think that one of the players in our disposal can play in that number 10 role right now, or the Leeds unequivocally have to go out and get a number 10 as well as a number 9?
Well, mate, I've said for the last 2 weeks, and I said it on the last show of you, we're a number 10 away from running away with the league at a canter.
So it's him for you.
I came out on transition. We're getting so many good positions, and it's just slow.
Yeah.
Or played wide. Now, it could be instructions. On the flip side, last year before that, we were saying we can't put square pegs in round holes. We can't put square pegs in round holes. And we did it constantly. At least now, we're not putting a square peg in a round hole. Aaronson seems to be a 10. I don't know. Is it a square peg in a round hole? I don't know. But I genuinely feel... I mean, I don't know what people's argument is. A number 10 cannot be sat on 2 assists in 29. He's played every minute of every game. 2 assists. We're top. We've 50-odd goals, and he's contributed 2 assists. It's not enough. And I don't get how anybody can argue that it is.
Well, Rutter got 16, didn't he?
It's like... I know what you're saying, but it's like comparing Margot Robbie and Pat Butcher. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't compare the two together. They're in different worlds, aren't they?
No, I know. Well, the man with no name at the bottom there is comparing. Come on, mate. You got a pair of eyes.
That's the other thing that's driving me insane. I'll see a score from like a website, like 7.4 because he carried the ball 40 yards. I always come away from games with the eye test. Like, how many times have I seen him give it away? And there's an awful lot of it for me. I'm not saying I'm right. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. Yeah. But for me, and a number 10, come on, guys. Are we saying that's okay? 2 assists out of 53 goals from our number 10 who's played every single minute?
Yeah.
Conor Potter.
But Draco Malfoy, mate. So... Should we get through a few comments then? Nigel says, Archer won't come. Why would Southampton let him go? Nige, you better hope he don't come, mate. You better hope he don't come, because I'd tell you one thing. He's a fair shout better than Tom Cannon, mate. So, but no, listen, I don't think that we'll get into... Look, Brownie, I know what you do. You go with it, and I need to put the brakes on. So yeah, no, mate, I'm unequivocally not thinking Archer's going to be coming. Okay, another one Archer here. Conor, Brownie, cagey. Conor been watching KG podcast earlier. He was saying that we should, that Leeds should go in for Archer. Why should we go in for Archer when he's playing for 2 teams that are relegated? He has been in and out of a team sitting on 6 points. Sometimes I don't think that's as linear. I get what KG's saying there. I don't think it's always as sort of like, you know, if you've been part of a relegation side, you've not got good players within that relegation side. That's just something on Archer. I think, you know, even if you've been relegated, teams cherry pick players from relegated sides, even when it's happened a couple of times. I think, you know, I still think you can get good players within those relegation sides, to be honest. But I get what he's saying. I do kind of get that, Brownie. Two relegation sides, but
like I said to you before, I'm a little bit with Kurji on this. If it was a 6-month loan and done, take him. Would I be over and hammered with having to pay a good 15 million for him to be in our team in the Premier League if we go up? I'm not sure I'm too keen on that. So yeah, I completely understand where Cage is coming from. I mean, is Archer a big 9?
No, he's not. And he's probably right, to be honest with you, if he's talking about like making an impact as well in the Premier League. He's had a few goes at it, hasn't he? And it's not quite worked. And like, I mean, you know what I'd do, mate. You know what I'd do anyway. But, you know, given a certain man, at least 10 matches, because we're still scoring goals, even without, you know, a number 9 putting the ball in every single week. So, look, we'll get onto that, mate. I want to get onto that. But I wouldn't have taken a point. It's such a weak mentality to accept a draw. Brownie, Brendan deserves a lot of credit. It's not his natural position. He also must be knackered playing every game for 90 minutes.
Bless him.
I'm going for the Joe 90 vibe. Conor clicks. I don't know what that means, mate, but it could be an insult. It could be.
But on that last comment though, Fark obviously likes what he's contributing to the team. He has played every minute of every game.
It's not Aaronson's fault. It's not Aaronson's fault.
It's
Can't
not.
pick himself.
What is his? I'll fire that back to the comment. What is his natural position then?
Yeah, that's a question.
What are you telling me his natural position is?
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Okay. Let's get into Conor, lend the man with no name your glasses. No, mate, you don't want these. You don't want these muckers. As I say, for you who just joined, I have to wear these now. I don't want to, but I have to. So yeah, I used to be Brownie. I used to have 20/20 vision. Used to be proud of it. No more. It's been in front of this frigging light, mate. I can't do it anymore. Right. Transfers. Big conversation. I'm going to throw to you Matt Target, and you're going to return with.
Where's that come from? Like what?
So
do you know what
apparently in the club, no one knows anyone. Apparently towards the club and all these sources close to it, apparently they're not even aware of it. You know what I mean? It's mad.
Do you know when I read it? When I read that, do you know when you see these silly things on Twitter or Instagram and you have to pause it or stop it when you're like, or your birthday and your month and the last place you went on holiday and it links to like a transfer, like Matt Target, 50 million from Barcelona. That is what I thought of that when I read that. I was like, where has that come from? Like, what? I'm not looking at this team and thinking, do you know what, lads? I think we need a fullback.
Yeah.
Unless there's something in the pipeline for Verba to go or Firpo to go in the next 24 hours.
You can't replace Max Verba depth-wise with Matt Target, who's played 44 times in the past 4 years.
Conor, if there's one club that could do that.
But why would you as well? Why would you replace? Let's say if we're looking for depth, even why would you replace Firpo and Byram? Imagine having Firpo, Byram, and Target as your depth with their injury records.
You could play 30 minutes each. Go along, no lost subs.
Just across the season.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Don't make a lot of sense, does it?
No.
The more prevalent one then, Cameron Archer. So we'll get into a few comments. As I said, Archer won't let him go. Conor, do you think Archer has a relegation clause, and that's why Southampton may be willing to negotiate? Right. So I'm gonna put to you where my head's at with this. Right. Cameron Archer, if he is to come to Leeds, Brownie, and I'm gonna go a little bit all over with this, right? But it's irritated me a little bit that we've got to this point in the window for this to once again start happening, the 30th of January, and it seems to have all just blown up this morning. So I think Alex Crook, who's got a really good contact base for TalkSport, he was the one who started the Sinister rumours a couple of years ago. He's got a real ear to Southampton, Bournemouth, all the clubs down there. He pretty much came out and said it straight away. Leeds have had a loan rejected from Southampton for him. Now, Southampton under the new boss, Jurich, apparently have been playing a front two. This Owenacho, who played against Leeds United last season, who just looked awful. I think it's him, the big lad up top, and Adam Armstrong, who I actually thought was older. Believe it or not, Brownie's 27. Adam Armstrong, I can't believe that. But so apparently he's been sticking with those two, and Archer's a bit frustrated right now. So apparently he is almost saying to Jurich, look, I'm looking for a loan if you do not put me in your first team plans. He's featured quite heavily for Russell Martin. He's got more minutes than I thought he had. So how I'm compartmentalizing this right now, mate, is Archer would be happy with the move, and Leeds were apparently going with him for him before Peru. Apparently Peru was almost our second target. Archer wants the move. Leeds want the move. But the big stumbling block, as always, mate, how often have we seen this? The parent club. So the dominoes now are, well, maybe Southampton need to go out and get another striker for Leeds to bring in Archer before the Monday 11 p.m. deadline. And it all just feels to me, mate, a little bit rushed. There might be a little bit of planning in there. We might be opportunistic. We might have this clause and that clause. But to me, it feels a little bit rushed. I sent you something earlier on, and they said Archer did want the move with Leeds before the Peru stuff. But he said to me that Southampton are not going to be letting him go. Now, I sent you that. And yeah, that's someone who's pretty decent, but I don't know. They could get it wrong as well. They could get it wrong. It's not unequivocally the truth. It's not professing to be ITK as well, but it's just he's convinced, and he's from down there as well, that Southampton won't let him go. Look, mate, where do you stand on it?
I mean, I don't think this will just happen today.
No.
Just to be clear, that it won't just have Leeds won't have picked up the phone this morning and gone, oh, by the way, can we loan Cameron Archer. It'll have been. I mean, he said something quite strange on Monday after the game about checking his phone. Yeah. So it feels like something's been happening all week. It does feel very Leeds that it's going to be 30 hours to the deadline, and we're now finally hearing about transfers.
Does that annoy you a bit? Does it annoy you a bit? And Conor said it's this opportunistic thing that we've seemed to have done for about 5 years now, especially in January. It always seems to be the same thing. It's constant.
I mean, me and you at the start of January went through our transfers in January for the last 4 or 5 years, and they've been nothing short of horrific.
Yeah.
So this opportunist thing hasn't really worked, because in the last few years, I think we've got to 1 or 2 good ones out of about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, what was the Conor Roberts barely played.
Rutter came in the one before.
Didn't play in that second half of the season. Was playing 23s. I mean, they're that good. None of us can even remember them.
So can I ask you something then? I think this is a bit. I think the fans have been a bit harsh with this, and this comes back to the convo that we were having about the depth that we've got in the squad, Brownie. I think some of the fans have been a bit. I can see some of you in the comment section below as well, and I'm going to push back on you a little bit. Like I can see people who are like I normally agree with as well, and that's what the channel's all about, in it, Brownie. Different opinions.
Sorry, I was just laughing at Weston McKennie coming in during January as well.
That's true. Yeah, another one there. I'm going to push back a little bit, because a lot of people are now saying, I think it's a bit of an indictment, Brownie, on the 49ers. A lot of people are saying, we do this every time. It's this ownership, blah, blah, blah. The ownership have got us in our second season of parachute payments, first in the division with rotation everywhere. I think the squad has been very, very, very good this season. It's held up very well. We've got quality. The players that have come in have done really well. We've got the most goals in the division, the biggest chances created, biggest XG. Bearing in mind, we're not in our first year of parachute payments here, by the way. There are other 3 clubs in this division that are at that, and we're still the strongest. So the ownership have done very well in balancing the act this season. I understand we've let big players go, but you still have to recruit well, and we've recruited really well, in my opinion. So what I am going to say is I do think it's quite harsh now, because of all the Archer links. Suddenly, everybody's narked off with the ownership. It's the 49ers' fault. They've always been like this. There are a bunch of chances. I don't think you can act like that. I think the squad without Cameron Archer gets promoted. I think the squad is more than good. The squad without Cameron Archer, the other 23 teams that have over theirs. So that's without Cameron Archer.
Absolutely.
So I just think it's a little bit harsh to be this damning on the 49ers, to be honest with you. And it's not because I'm coming from 49ers glasses. It's not. It's just me saying what I've said throughout this entire season, that the squad is more than good enough.
We said at the start of the season, if the squad didn't get promoted, then it'd be a failure. So we can't then suddenly say... We can't suddenly then say in January, when we're top of the league, that they've been negligent. I did say last time, and I stand by it, it's a bit of a gamble. The gamble bit is, I think they're banking on this squad going up, giving them more money to then spend in the Premier League with all this PSR nonsense, okay? Whereas, for example, Sheffield United, who have just shot the load of 25 million on Diaz and Cannon or whatever, will they be happy with them playing in the Premier League? Because I certainly wouldn't be happy with Diaz and Cannon staying in the Premier League if we got promoted.
And I think they're a bit more nervous than we think as well. Speaking to Jimmy, the lad who me and you were speaking about before in terms of the little edit, and he's a very positive Sheffield United fan, as we've said. And I was speaking to him about Cannon yesterday, and I know it's only been one performance, but I've not directly spoken to him about it really, but we had a bit of a chat about it off air, and he seems confident, but I think it's that long-term thing again. It's that long-term thing of Tom Cannon in the Premier League as you strike, because it's a new ownership. Yeah. American ownership have come in, they put their hand in the pocket, 10 million quid. They're going to be expecting a return on that. It's not just going to be Championship football. Yeah,
and this goes right back to the original comment, and where I align with what the comment was about what KG had said. Bring him in for the next 6 months. Yeah, do it. Another attacker in that forward line. We'll add, 7 or 8 goals between now and the end of the season. Cameron Archer, yeah. But if we were to then say, right, but you've got to pay 15 to 20 million and take him next year, I think that 15 to 20 million could be better spent in the Premier League on something else, in my opinion. So that I think if it was, you can get Archie, but you've got to pay 15 to 20 million for him to have him for next season, would everybody still be as all gung-ho about getting him in? I'm not too sure that they would if they actually thought logically about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Where do people see Cameron Archer's price value at? Could be a.
I think you raise a really good point. I think we've got to look long term. It's what we've been saying. Me and you have been on this how many times, and we've been saying it's long term. You've got to think long term, and you've got to think Premier League. You know, they'll have been thinking Premier League with Peru. I think there will have been, but the problem is you've seen Peru in a Leeds United shirt now, and athleticism and physicality is just not going to hold up. You can't be that anonymous in games.
No.
You just can't in the Premier League. You're going to get gobbled up. So I think right now, if a player comes in, I think Leeds United. Let me ask you something. I asked everybody earlier on the live stream. Victor Johansson, right? Rotherham goalkeeper, moved to Stoke for £1 million. Leeds have one option this window, right? Johansson for me is available. I don't care. It'll be available for 5 to 7 million. Stoke are in a whole world of trouble when it comes to the financial implications of that squad right now. We've let in, how many goals? We'd be on the same, I genuinely think conceded wise, we'd be on a similar total to Burnley if it wasn't for that goalkeeper. For me, if you're going to go out and bring in a permanent signing and have an obligation to a signing, you go out and buy Victor Johansson, because I think in the summer months, mate, there are going to be clubs after that guy because he's impressing again at Stoke. He's done it at Rotherham. He's just going to make his way up. In my opinion, right now, if Leeds, why is it suddenly? Look, I mentioned a number 9. Don't get me wrong, because he's never going to put Ramazani or Joseph in terms of rotation. So I just said the other day, you might as well go and get a number 9. But I didn't expect them to do it, Brownie. I didn't expect them to at least have those rumours, at the 4. So for me, mate, I can't believe the first rumour and the last rumour, if we're going for one player, isn't the guy between the sticks. I cannot understand how this is now just swept under the carpet. It doesn't matter. I know he's letting goals here and Swansea and Hull and Portsmouth.
Kept a clean sheet the other night. Not see all them shots he served.
But this is what I mean. I can't understand how it's ignored. So if you're asking me right now, who would I rather bring in? You've got the bomb scare between the sticks, who's going to cost us more points for the rest of the season. He will. It's trends, it's patterns. It's happened over the past 4 years. It's going to happen in the second half of the season. Who you rather bring it in? A centre forward, or you rather bring in a goalkeeper?
It's a good question. I think if you bring a centre forward in who scores 10 to 12 goals between now and the end of the season, that's enough game. I'm at a stage now where I'm counting down the points.
Brownie, if we had a goalkeeper who was worth his salt, me and you have said we'd be 7 or 8 points better off. Would that match up? Would that match up in terms of the amount of gilt-edged chances our centre forwards have missed and how much we've suffered? I don't think it would have done. I think what he's done in terms of a goalkeeper is why we are not further ahead right now. Every other fan, they all love Melly, eh? They all love him. Sheffield United fans and Sunderland, because they're keeping them in it.
Where I'm at now is, and you're on a bit of a homeward straight because other teams' results become more. You take more note of the other team's results. Like September, October, November, you think, yeah, they've won whatever. Between now, February, March, you look at other teams to drop points as a benefit. There's 17 games left. 10 wins out of 17. Do you think that's a lot of wins out of 17 for this team?
No.
That gets us to 90. Just 10 wins out of 17 gets us to 90 points. So that's 7 games where Leeds can do a Leeds. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to get to the point of.
Are you trying to say right now you want to be? There needs to be. I agree. I think there needs to be a cushion. I don't want to be within 2, 3, 4 points of 3 other teams. It can't be like that for this club. It can't. We have to be like we're in that Bielsa season where we finished 10 points above West Bromwich Albion, 93 and 83. We need to have a cushion this Leeds side. And for me, Brownie, I'm quite passionate about this because I do feel if we are to bring one signature in, it's absolutely baffling me. And what I will say is maybe they think they can go and get a number one goalkeeper, mate, in the summer. Maybe that's what they think. Maybe if they go up and Sheffield United don't, they can pitch up Michael Cooper. But right now, long term, if we're thinking Premier League, because us in the chat have been talking about Premier League football, Cameron Archer, Premier League football, Joel Peru, Premier League football. Well, we've scored 53 goals. And I understand Peru's not been amazing. He's scored 10 goals. Do you know what I mean? But the guy at the back has saved us no points. Not a single stage am I feeling reassured with this guy.
I just think we're at this stage now. I think we're in that much control of games that and this is going to contradict what I've said, because shoot at our goal and it goes in. In some games it's been one shot goal. I just think if you were to bring in someone who gets 10 goals between now and the end of the season, we've spoke about how many chances we've missed. And it's a really good question. Honestly, it's a really good question.
We've scored 53 goals.
We've only conceded 19.
And that's what I mean. 9 is chucked in.
That's what I mean. It's such a good question. I don't think there's a right answer. I really don't think there's a right answer. I think you either secure more points by not letting daft goals in, or make sure that, a bit like Brazil of the 90s, you scored 2, like we're going to score 3.
You don't think that puts more pressure on us, though? Would you not rather have someone between the sticks who just makes these fine saves and saves us a little bit as well?
You've seen games at Ellen Road. How many teams come to Leeds and score many goals? Now I've said that, Cardiff will probably come and score 4, something daft like that. But I don't know.
You know that pressure will come on. You know that pressure's going to come on at some point this season. And it's going to hit the squad, and it should do, because it's promotion and we need to go up. That's what worries me a little bit. Three wins in 11 towards the back end of last season after a fantastic form. 10 on the bounce. Okay, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, Brownie. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we're on here talking about the guy between the sticks after Hull.
Hey, listen, I'm not defending him.
I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not.
I just think it's such a good question that you could
I just can't believe it's not the number one. It worries the life out. Do you know what it makes me think? It makes me think that, I don't know, maybe they'll do something in the summer. Maybe they'll do something in the summer regarding him. But, a few bits I've heard is the coaching staff still rate him down there. It genuinely makes me think we're going to go up and he's going to still be there. You might as well just sign the death warrant right now. And it's not to be depressing. It's not to be negative. But you've got to address that massive hole, literally, in the goal.
So what games do you think he's cost us?
Swansea. He was, well, okay, we didn't lose the game. We didn't lose the game at Swansea. Yeah. No, okay. Yeah, no.
So a cost.
So a cost. Hull.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That's
Sunderland.
2.
You can put others in there, but when your goalkeeper's last line of defence, I'd say Norwich and maybe Portsmouth.
So 4 games, and I'm not disagreeing. I'm just trying to, because I'm not even saying you're wrong. So that's 4 games that I think he's cost us.
What do you think?
I now think
Preston away, biscuit wrists. Got to keep that out. Norwich Sergeant goes down the middle. He stays down the middle, and it goes in.
I'm now thinking of games where we've lost. There's only been 3 of them. There was Millwall, Blackburn away, and who else did we get beat by? Burnley at home. Burnley at home straight away, we had about 19 gilt-edged chances.
I'm still looking at that one. I'm still looking at their goal there as well. Just gave him the entire corner to away, Matt.
And this is what I mean. He can be at fault for that, but Mateo Joseph is clean through on goal inside 60 seconds and hits close to the. So I'm just trying to weigh them both up, and I think they're just as bad as each other. The missed chances and the cost points.
Really, Melier. Really, you think him and Joseph are on the same level in terms of?
I reckon if you went through
these points,
if you went through the games where we've dropped points, you'll see some unbelievable missed chances in them games.
Yeah. But a goalkeeper's
So,
not
for example, the Preston one, Bamford's missed from the goal line.
Yeah.
He's missed on the goal. I still don't know how he's put it wide. He's missed on the goal line.
But I think this is the point. This is the point where I think this is the point. Don't get me wrong. There's a conversation about us going out and doing two positions, but is he not the first position?
It's what. So I've just clicked on that Preston Leeds game, and you're talking about popping on wrists in there, and I agree. I totally agree. Should save it. We had 18 shots in that game. If we have someone who puts the ball in the net, it doesn't matter if he lets one in. That's what I'm trying to. Do you know what I mean? Trying to say.
Do you think the defence trust him?
Didn't look like it after the whole game when they were all just like, "What's he done now?" Do you know the images of Rodon on that?
I don't want to turn it into a melee bashing. I don't want to do that. But for me, it's another open goal in your long-term planning. You know, when Johansson's not exactly a massive step down from Trafford or Cooper, I think he's a brilliant keeper. I think he'll probably make it to the top as well. I just think it's that, like, you know, Stoke City, why not?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good talking point, and you could make arguments with it. I'm just looking at drop points. So Bristol City away, 0-0. We had 17 shots, 0-0. 17 shots at goal.
But he's scoring goals. But how can scoring goals be a problem when you've scored about 9, 10 plus than the second place side? Do you know what I'm saying? How can goals scored be the problem in this side? It's not. It can't be.
No, it's not. But on the flip side, there's only Burnley who've conceded less. It's the same argument. How can goals conceded be the problem when we've conceded the second least in the league? It's honestly, it's a great debate. You could, people will be saying striker 10 goals, few more wins, done. Goalkeeper. There's a genuine point to this that we could probably end up doing neither.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into a couple of comments. Dan says, cheers for the donation, mate. I'm not happy as my local team, Reading, have sold their only striker and they can't buy one as they are in a transfer embargo. I wish they could get Bamford on Daniel. In fact, to be fair, at Reading's level, I think lower ebb championship, he might be all right. To be honest with you,
is it really bad that I thought that he could probably get him for that $9.99? Round it up to a tenner and you can have him. Listen, I've loved Bamford.
He's also been a 9 3 times this season. So there we go. It's spot on. Good donation, mate. WFIA says summer window was looking like a travesty, but turned out so well. I'm holding my breath until the window's closed. Steve with the 5
They have done that, the 49ers. The 49ers have done that in the last few transfer windows where somebody's just come from nowhere, not expected.
I think it was Tanaka and Ramazani, wasn't it, with about 4 days to go. Steve, donate $5. Cheers, mate. Damien says, this is where common sense is. Most Facebook expos need a redirect to keep it up, Conor and the boys. Boyan Bandana says as well, 3 teams will get above 90 again. I think so. The league is poor. That's it, Brownie. That's why I absolutely love you, and you know I do. But when you start mentioning these 10 games, like if we win 10 in 17,
you think it's stronger?
My toes start to curl.
Hang on, put that comment back up. You think the league's poorer?
You think the league's better than? You think the league is better?
Sorry, no, I read it wrong. I genuinely don't think 3 teams will get to 90.
No, but
you watch Burnley the other night. They've had 9-0, 10-0 nils.
They're on like a point behind, 0.2 behind us, aren't they?
Honestly, I would. It's a completely different debate. But imagine I bought a spine season ticket there this year.
Yeah, they're terrible to watch. They're awful to watch. But they don't lose games, do they? They don't concede goals. Do you know what they'd be? They're perfect playoff team, aren't they? Perfect playoff team. Is it not fair to say like the top 4, right? The top 4, we can agree, are better, miles better than the rest. Okay, I think Sheffield have had the anomaly. Sunderland are evidently keeping up with the pack as well. They had the anomaly against Hull City, didn't they? Sheffield United, blah, blah, blah. Sunderland didn't do well against Plymouth. They might drop off towards the end. Who knows? It's up for debate. But is it not fair to say if these points are if these teams are within conversation right now with 3 and 4 points, why can we not have a conversation about these teams hitting 90 points as well?
No, we're well in it, aren't we? I actually think Burnley have got a nice set of fixtures coming up as well. So we'll see how serious they are over the next 5 or 6 games. I just want a gap to create, and that was the only frustration from the Burnley game, where it was a chance to really go, do you know what? 6 points, bang, who's coming up with us? This weekend, home to Cardiff, should be 3 points. What have the others got? Sheffield United are at Derby. Sunderland play Middlesbrough. So
tough
all the best going to Middlesbrough Saturday night, I think
Burnley,
it is.
Burnley got Oxford as well at home. I mean, they draw all the time at home, don't they? So
no, they're all away. There's only us at home this weekend.
Oh, they're away. Are they away?
All 3 of them away. So I don't know. I think
that's a win for Burnley then, isn't it? I think they've picked up about 31 points on the road.
Here's a way to look at it. Are people happy with our points tally? Are you happy with us being on 60 points?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So are we wanting signings because others are nearly on 60 points, or do we genuinely believe that there's frailties in our team?
That's a good question. Yeah.
So if we did have a 5-6 point buffer, would we still be clamouring for signings? I don't know.
So I keep come back to the goalkeeper. So I keep coming back to Sunderland, mate, and then Oxford. Yeah. So I keep coming to those 2. You can't be a goalkeeper for the top side of the Championship and doing madness like at Hull and Sunderland. That's just and you got to look at Farker as well, Brownie, because we can all talk about Melee, we can all talk about Aaronson, but who's the man putting him in between the sticks?
No, absolutely.
And in 10, obviously.
But what we're on 60 from 29. What's that work out at? Some mathematicians, can they do it quicker than me? 60 divided by 29 times 46 gets us to 95 points. Would that be enough?
Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd hope so. Yeah. So what point are you making with that then? Are you saying just like right now it's we're fine? Because I'm kind of on that same wavelength as you.
For a very, very good points tally. I do think it's a slight gamble. Banking on being able to spend more money in the Premier League. The argument to that is, well, you've got to make sure you get there first.
Yeah.
Because we've all said that it's imperative that we go up this season, otherwise it could be.
So are they panicking now then? Are they panicking now? What's going on? What do you think is going on now? Because obviously we're going for Archer at this stage.
I don't think they're panicking. If they were panicking, they'd probably just go, there's 20 million for an obligation to buy, a bit like Sheffield United have done. I'd say they were panicking. It's interesting.
But this is the thing with and I knew you were going to say that, because Phil, I think the interesting thing is now it feels like I'm getting the vibe that fans want to go out and sign now. We're getting to the end of the window. There's a bit of a worry. We're thinking, right, we need to go out and get someone now. My point is, does it matter about who that person is? Does it matter about who that person is? Because all of a sudden,
just want a shiny new toy.
And I don't get me wrong, I don't think Archer's a bad player, but let's take a step back. Let's have a breath. And if we're to go to the Premier League and we've got an obligation in the summer to spend 15 to 20 million quid on a young Cameron Archer who's only recently gone to Southampton, which is going to be
for 17 million, by the way. So it's not going to be cheap.
It's going to be a premium. So you're not going to be going up there. You're not going to be going up there and signing, a whole host of attacking players. Archer's going to be your big investment. So if you're happy with that, fair enough. But I can understand some fans being like, I think you need a little bit more proof in the pudding.
When it says, and Philip might be able to, I don't even know what the phrase is, but when I see comments when I see comments like that about a few injuries and we're fucked. Did people see our bench on Monday night? I'll just read it. Firpo, Nonto, Joseph, Ramazani, Rothwell, Smith, Verber, Giavogi. Strike to come back in. So if we get 1 or 2 injuries, I don't think we are necessarily in the do. We've had no Gruev and Ampadu for 3 months and still top of the league.
So let's just go to some of our rivals as well. Let's just go to some of our rivals just to back that point up. Right now, and I understand this context here, obviously player coming in, And obviously Chowdhury wasn't part of this. I'll be honest with you guys. I'd still, you guys know my feeling on Gruev in terms of I like Gruev, but I think he's probably the bottom of our centre midfield options below Tanaka, Ampadu, and Rothwell. I'm taking Gruev over Hamza Chowdhury. This guy's been off the boil for the past 2 or 3 months. This guy's constantly injury ridden. I don't mind Tyrese Campbell at all, and none of them are sure about this guy. So that is their bench against Hull. I understand that they've probably got a few players coming back. That's our rivals in second right now. With us right now, Leeds United, like Brownie was just talking through our
I'm going to have to call out another comment. What good is a bench if not used properly? Can someone tell me what team has scored the most goals from the sub bench this season? It's us. So it is getting used properly. Surely tell. We've scored the most goals from the subs bench.
I think Burnley's depth's good. I think Burnley have got a strong bench. Manuel Benson coming back as well, who's ripped up the Championship a couple of years ago. I think that's a good foundation to have as well. I think they're strong. Sunderland, I think, need a lot of work in terms of just that investment, that depth. That they've got a good starting 11, in my opinion, but I think they need investment there. And Sheffield United, I think we've still got the best squad in the division. Still,
I'd like to know. People might be able to tell me how further long Struick's going to be out for, because I think that is the only position that would worry me if anything happened to Ampadu and Strike. I'm not sure who would go in centre back. I mean, I saw Gearberg against Harrogate, and
do you think anything's going on with Verba, Brownie? Do you think anything's if we're being speculative? Do you think anything's going on with him?
Yeah.
I'm really shocked. I mean, he was saying today as well, it's another knee niggle, and I'm thinking to myself, that's every 3 games. It's like every 2 or 3 games. I think this is the most injury prone he's been in his career. I had a look at it earlier. It's never been this bad, and he's not.
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if I was scrolling social media tomorrow and saw that he was linked with someone elsewhere. Verba just seems very odd. 1 minute he's fit, next minute he's not.
It's throughout the whole of January, isn't it? Which makes you raise your eyebrow a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't be overly hammered on Gearvorgi going centre back for the remainder of the season. So that if Strike's close to being back, then all well and good. If something was to further happen at centre back, I'd be a little bit concerned, because Gearvorgi didn't look like he could move that much.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's been brought in, Annie, to be.
But if Verba stays past, is the deadline tomorrow? Is that right?
No, 3rd of Feb.
Ah,
yeah.
There's me saying there's a day left. Oh, God knows. And I thought it was tomorrow. It's normally,
Is it not
normally the last day of the month?
It has been. I think they've just extended it this time, to be honest.
Why?
I know.
Oh, well, in that case, then we've got another 4 days. How could happen? I thought it was tomorrow.
Yeah, got till Monday.
When I signed on deadline day for a club, it was the 31st of January, so I've just always had that in my head.
Yeah. Since I've been doing this, it's been Jan 31st as well.
Yeah. So ignore everything I've said for the last 55 minutes. We've got 4 days left.
But do you think they'll do anything? Do you think they'll do anything? Or I don't think they'll do anything. I think you might see an. You think we will? Where are you
now
thinking?
That I know there's another 4 days, if I thought it was tomorrow, I'd have said no. But now that we've got another 3 or 4 days, and there's already murmurs of Archer and Matt Target, whatever that is.
I don't think that's true though. But yeah.
Yeah, I think possibly now that I know there's 4 days left, that something might happen.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, I was having a look at your tweet as well in terms of Peru and Aaronson. Just after that game, it made me laugh, made me giggle a little bit.
I mean, he didn't get out of a jog, did he?
But what about I tell you what about Cardiff this weekend? Then they've been coming into form a little bit. Is it sort of a routine win you're expecting?
I expect every game at Ellen Road to be a routine win.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you where they were. 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have, to be fair. They haven't lost since...
Picked up.
Boxing Day.
Yeah. Really picked up.
So, yeah, I'm glad you've told me that. That's cheered me up. Who've they played, though? Derby, Millwall, Swansea, Watford. Good point at Middlesbrough. Coventry. Yeah, they picked up. But yeah, I expect every team to come to Ellen Road and play exactly the same way, bore the life out of me, waste as much time as possible, try and hit Leeds on a set piece or a break and just sit in. So it's just a case of, and I think that's what's really helped Leeds in that recent games at Ellen Road, scoring early. Meant teams have had to come out a bit.
Well, what can I get your thoughts on the next? Obviously, we've got a bit of a tricky run now, haven't we? Obviously, we know the best sort of outcome. Obviously beating Cardiff would be ideal, but they're in a bit of form as well. Cov, I think, have won 4 on the bounce since the Frank Lampard effect in it. Watford in bad form right now, but never easy going to Hertfordshire. Then it sort of comes to Sunderland, Sheffield, and West Brom, done it. And obviously QPR just linger in there, Brownie, which is going to be a bit of a toughie. I think they're doing really well. What are your thoughts, mate? What are your overall thoughts?
I think we had a show just after Christmas, and I said if we get to the end of February top, I don't see anything changing. And I'm still of that opinion. It is a tough collection of games, to be fair.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
But I think if you scroll down past that West Brom bit, it looks quite nice.
Yeah, it does. It does. You kind of get post Borough, don't you? And
but I mean, like I said, 10 wins from 17. And then anything else on top of that is a bonus. Gets you to the 90-point mark, and then you've got 7 games, a couple of draws, a couple of defeats. Do you know what I mean? You're nearly there, but yeah, it's territory of hoping other teams drop points. I think as soon as you see that gap, I think everybody will just breathe a little sigh of relief a little bit. Hopefully, something happens this weekend. I can't see Sunderland going to Middlesbrough and winning. I can't.
No, I can't.
I can't see Burnley losing at Oxford. The only one that maybe happen is Derby doing us a favour. Who thought we'd say that? But
not been doing great again, though, have they? They've really slumped off since we played them.
Due a win.
Roland says, the way we are playing now is how we'll set up till the end of the season. Good at home, defensively away for a draw and a hint of a win. Brownie, yeah, man. Have you got any sort of bold predictions for the season? I asked Jim on the other show. Any bold predictions? I said, you'll shoot me for this and you'll start laughing. And everyone in the chat who's not seen it. I said, Sunderland are going to end up in the automatics. It's my bold shout.
Not for me.
Not a lot of people agree with me on that one. That's why it's a bold shout. Have you got any? Have you got any? And is anyone in the chat as well? Any bold shouts in terms of scorers who we're going to sign? Whatever it can be toward the back end of the season. Will Brendan Aaronson get to 3 assists? What's the?
No, I think it'd be Leeds, Sheffield United. I'm going to stick with what I've maintained. Leeds, Sheffield United. Playoffs.
Ryan's maybe got a bit of a bold one here. If Byram is staying at Farkas on Friday night, then he starts against Cardiff. Carl says 100 points.
Playoffs, I'm going to say, will be the team that doesn't.
Few here, by the way. Burnley to win the league. Leeds
I'm going to say the playoffs winner this time is going to come from a team 5th or 6th.
Oh, okay. Matt's kind of going with a similar vibe. West Brom to win it.
Yeah, I can see that happening. So there'll be West Brom, Middlesbrough. I think Norwich will climb. They've got a nice set of fixtures and Sargent's back. Blackburn.
Borja Signs is he's back in the next, I think, 1 or 2 games as well. He scored 15
Aaronson
goals.
to outperform goal contributions. What did Rutter get?
He got 16. I think he got 16 assists and got 6 goals. So that's what, 22.
So Aronson's on 9.
Oh, Phil, it was only a joke. It's only a joke, mate. It's just a little joke between friends, flipping out. Don't take it too seriously.
What about Jack Aaronson to return in the next few days? Is that a bit left wing?
Yeah, I'm off, mate. You can have the channel then. I can't deal with that. Can't deal with that. You talking about Tyler Roberts? I think a better comparison with Brendan Aaronson is Jack Harrison. I think that is a better comparison. I think hot and cold, out of games, sometimes an extra touch, frustrating, low on, very confidence-ridden player. Inconsistency.
I didn't mind Aaronson. I didn't mind him.
Do you not mind Aaronson?
Harrison. I can't believe he's still on loan, by the way. It seems like he left about 14 years ago.
Yeah, they don't like him, do they? They don't like him at all. I've seen a fair few balloon shots up in the bleachers, even at Everton. So
yeah,
but
I can't see past Leeds, Sheffield United. I really can't. Burnley
is that just artillery? The amount of like sort of depth that Sheffield United have got.
I just think Burnley have got a crap result in them every 5 or 6 games. They'll go and draw at, I don't know, Stoke, or draw at home to QPR, or draw at home to Portsmouth. Do you know what I mean? Just some guff result where they stunk the place out. Probably a 0-0.
It's not a bad shout, this, you know. I know this sounds mad, but he's on something like 18. I prefer saying Leeds are on 18, not Melié's on 18. But yeah, he's on 18. I think Burnley are on 20, which is madness. So we're not that far off him. But yeah. All right, mate. Well, we'll leave it there. Quick score prediction before we go for Cardiff.
Well, I was a bit more in high spirits until you told me about Cardiff's upturn of form. But 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, should be enough. Sure. Quickly, would you go through any squad rotations for this one, or would you keep the same 11? Guev, Byram.
I was surprised with the Guev beforehand. When I saw the game play out, I was not surprised with Guev, because Guev and Tanaka just didn't move from that defensive midfield shape and just sat in. I don't want to see both of them next to each other. I'd probably prefer to see Firpo, if he's fit as well, at left back, just a natural left back attacking, rather than chopping back onto the right all the time. Other than that, I don't think anything will change.
No, similar vibes. All right, guys. Well, make sure you give us a like for Brownie. We're actually on 19 people in the building, so you know what that means. Slap a like on this one. Loftus said 4-0. And guys, thanks so much. And me and Brownie will reconvene very soon. Cheers for joining, mate. As always, of course. And people love seeing you back. And we'll see you in a bit, guys.